Shaver, everybody! What a good night. Let's hear it for all the comics you've already seen tonight. Let's hear it for your bartenders, your staff tonight here at the Green Quad. Let's hear it for the man that runs the show, Mr. Timmy Riney. Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it. We are here. Your feature is ready. He's ready to make you laugh. We are going to be bringing him to the stage right now. It'll be taking us just a second. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to keep your applause, your wooing, your energy going the entire time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Mr. Nathan Holk.
Hello, everybody. Sorry about all the hassle getting me on stage. I'm currently involved in a complicated insurance fraud claim. Those nice fellows were willing to help me keep up appearances. I'm very happy to be here, lucky to be on stage today. In fact, people tell me I'm lucky all the time. But it's not usually when you'd want people to tell you you're lucky. You know, like at a casino, or with the ladies. Usually when people tell me I'm lucky, it's like at a party, and someone showed up late, and all the seats are taken. Man, Nate, you're really lucky. You always have a place to sit. And while that's true, it's also what we call a silver lining. Like, yeah, it's a positive thing. There's just all this cloud stuff that goes with it. Sure, it's got some shine. It's still very clearly not the sun. Hey Nate, you're really lucky. Your shoes probably never wear out. You're right. But I also can't use them for the very purpose they were designed for. Hey Nate, you're really lucky. You always have a great conversation starter. Right again. But the conversations usually end up being about somebody's second cousin who broke their toe 2 years ago and they had to spend a couple months in a wheelchair, which is why this person I'm talking to knows exactly what I'm going through. Hey Nate, you're really lucky. It's probably really easy for you to get lap dances. Alright, that one's actually pretty awesome. And whenever people tell me I'm lucky, I always try to tell them how I came to be so lucky. Because, well, why should I be the only lucky one? So I tell them what I did, is I went snowboarding, I went off a 50-foot jump, and then, and this is the hard part, I intentionally landed upside down. Now I realize you might not be quite as badass as I am, so here's what we can do. A doctor once told me that what I did to my back was essentially the same thing that would have happened had I just smashed my spine with a sledgehammer. Well, I'm not selfish. I'm more than happy to share the luck. Back at home, I have a sledgehammer. We can make this happen for you. You too could be so lucky as to always have a place to sit at a party, no matter how late you show up. It could be standing room only, but not for you. You could be that lucky. Now, when it comes to shopping, in general, I'm not a fan. But I especially hate shoe shopping. It's hard buying new shoes. There's so many different options. They're all so expensive. None of them are very comfortable, I assume. I just assume I'm lucky I can't feel my shoes. I mean, girls are always complaining about their feet hurting because of their shoes. Guys probably hurt too, they just aren't pussies about it. But really, shoes are expensive. Whenever I'm buying new shoes, I'm always trying to picture my closet at home, and I'm thinking to myself, alright, how much of my wardrobe could I wear these with in public? Then at that point, it's just a dollar cost breakdown in value. I guess I could just splurge on shoes. After all, they're never going to wear out for me. The only only thing I have to worry about is when they occasionally go missing, which happens on a far too regular basis. Like every now and then I'll come home drunk, pass out, and then the next morning there's just one shoe sitting there. I'm just like, God damn it, not again. You can't buy just one shoe, Nate. So I light the other shoe on fire to justify buying a new pair. You know how I know chivalry is dead? Because ladies will open the door for me. Or maybe it's just that there's tiers of being polite and I'm at the bottom. Like men open doors for women, women open doors for the handicapped. Maybe chivalry is not dead, it's just disabled. If chivalry is dead, I think women had a hand in killing it. You ever met a lady who's like, excuse me, I can open a door for myself, thank you very much. And I can see where they're coming from. It is kind of lame for someone to be like, here, you look weak and feeble, let me do that for you. I'm not always the most chivalrous person myself though. Like whenever I pick up a girl that I'm dating from her house, usually I just give her a call from the sidewalk when I get there. I'm like, hey, I'm here, you ready? Recently single again. But there was this one girl I dated a while back, this really traditional girl. She'd never open the door for herself if I was around. She'd always have me open the door for her. And you know what, I kind of like that. I could feel like I was taking care of her, be a provider, whatever. But it was always an ordeal picking her up from her house. Like, she was special, don't get me wrong. But whenever I picked up this girl from her house, I'd pull up to the sidewalk, get my wheelchair out of the car, I'd get out, after assembling it next to me, I gotta go up to the house. I realized there's stairs up to the front door, so I gotta find a branch in the front yard that's long enough to reach the doorbell, ring the bell. She comes outside, go out to the car, I open the door for her, because I'm a gentleman. She gets in, close the door, I go around the car, take my wheelchair apart, throw it in the back seat, and we're off. Fucking exhausting. But that girl rode the meanest dick. Now in comedy people talk about punching up as opposed to punching down, which means you're not supposed to make fun of someone who has it worse off than you do. So I just have to say, jackpot. No one's off limits. Or at least I'd have to get really creative to be punching down. Like, I'm sure somewhere there's a quadriplegic with Down syndrome. They don't need me to make fun of them. They're already hilarious. This guy knows what I'm talking about. What? It's not too dark for all of you guys, is it? Well, just wait. Wait till you see my impression of a quadriplegic with Down syndrome, which I won't do for you.
You do have.
I actually do a fair amount of traveling, mostly for work. But there's some pluses and minuses to traveling in a wheelchair. On the plus side, I don't have to go through the metal detectors or those weird new scanner things they have. There's a lot more places that I can hide and smuggle things. And since I don't go through the metal detectors, they always pat me down, which is great when you take ecstasy before you go to the airport. Come on, cavity search. No, there's some downsides to traveling in a wheelchair too. Mostly airport restrooms. Mostly because there's always only one handicap stall. And mostly because that stall is always occupied. I actually heard a comedian in his set say once upon a time that he's never gotten out of a handicap stall and had someone sitting on top of four wheels waiting for him to finish up, giving him that look when he finally gets out. And you know that look. Well, I've never not had to give someone that look. And it amazes me sometimes just how far out of their way people will go to inconvenience me. Like in a typical men's airport restroom, there will be, let's say, 6 stalls. 5 normal people stalls, and 1 handicap stall. And universally, the handicap stall is the farthest stall from the entrance to the restroom, which means that all these healthy, able-bodied people who need to shit are going to walk past 5 open, empty, available, somewhat clean stalls to use the one stall that keeps a nice fraud like me from catching his flight. Maybe I should be more forgiving. I realize you can't always see every disability. Not everyone brings a titanium contraption around with them advertising to the world their limitations. Maybe, it could be, it just might possibly be the case that claustrophobia is running rampant among air travelers. Like I said, I do a lot of traveling. I go to Vegas like once a year at least. Anyone here been to Vegas? Yeah. Hell yeah. If you haven't, make plans. But Vegas, it's kind of a scary place. Vegas is scary because, well, it's a city of extremes. When things go well, they usually go very well. On the flip side, when things go badly, well, you could be in the nightclub 1 minute, having the time of your life, and then the next thing you know, you're getting 7 staples in your scalp with no anesthetic. And you're still in casino mode, so like you're bluffing, you gotta act like you know what's going on. And you're just like, yes, give me that staple, I love it. Hit me again. Now, why is that always the way it happens for me? Like, why don't ever I wake up next to stacks of money, or at least have a fat hooker passed out on the floor, instead of staples in my scalp? Add to that the fact that they wouldn't release me from the ER until I had sober friends to pick me up. So that took several weeks. I mean, eventually they offered to release me under my own personal recognizance. But I was like, how about some recognizant dollars? At which point my nurse unplugged my call button and quietly left the room. Now, they must have let me leave the ER eventually because I did end up catching my flight. I remember spending the whole flight just kind of feeling my scalp, trying to figure out what happened, piecing it all together. Now, that was several months ago. So, what I've managed to figure out is that I still have no idea what fucking happened. It's weird that pot's legal now. And we're starting to get used to it around here. But there's other states that just recently became so lucky. Like, I honestly didn't think that I would live through the end of prohibition of weed. And yet now, someday, I'm going to be sitting down with my grandkids, and they're going to look up at me all wide-eyed and be like, you mean pot used to be illegal? And I'll say, yep, and I used to be the 21st century version of a bootlegger. Now, it's weird, though. One point in my life, pot was illegal. Another point in my life, it was legal. But the same thing happened with alcohol, too. Like, at one point in my life, it was illegal. Then I turned 21, and it became legal. Whether it was weed or alcohol, though, it didn't really matter that it was illegal. That didn't stop me from doing it. There were, however, some differences in how I partook before and after they reached legal for me. Like, with alcohol, before I was 21, I did most of my drinking either at home or at a friend's house. You know, away from the public and away from police officers. After I turned 21, I did a lot of my drinking away from home, out in public, where there were lots of police officers. So whereas I was pretty good about not getting into trouble with my drinking when it was illegal for me to do, since I've been allowed to do it, I've had a lot more interactions with cops being like, hey, you can't be doing that. Now, when pot became legal, I noticed some other differences. Being honest, though, I'm a white male living in Bellingham with a visible disability. Weed's basically been legal for me for years. The biggest difference I notice is that I'm more likely to carry things around with me, you know, like a weed pipe, etc. So now when my drinking gets me into trouble, the cops have to take my weed and vaporizer pen away from me when we're on our way to jail. They're like, I'll take that for now, but since it's not illegal for me to have it, they have to be like, and you can pick it back up when you get out. Now, I haven't done that yet. I kind of like the idea that somewhere down in Marysville, in what I assume is a very secure Fort Knox type location, Washington State Patrol is keeping an eye on 2 vaporizer pens, about an eighth of pot, and a couple grams of hash oil for me. Realistically, I probably just supplied the party favors for a police officer poker game. Like I picture a bunch of mustachioed men sitting around a table in a hazy room. Oh, I love it when they don't clean their shit. It's good shit here. Now, in general, people skills are lacking these days. Texting's just made us stupid. There's no empathy anymore. Like a lot of times people have a hard time having simple, non-offensive conversations with people that they've just met. And really, when you just meet someone, you don't always need to use the most visible characteristic of that person to create a connection with them. Like if I saw a hot redhead sitting alone in a bar and I wanted to start up a conversation with her, I probably wouldn't go up to her and talk about other redheads that I know. Like, I wouldn't say, hi there. My cousin's a redhead too, actually. Yeah, she dyes her hair brunette now, but I remember when she was younger, super red hair. Don't worry, you have way nicer tits than her. People do basically that though. They'll come up to me and be like, hey, my brother had to be in a wheelchair for a while. I mean, he can walk now, but you seem to be doing all right. And what am I supposed to say? Cool, I had to be in a wheelchair for a while too. And then a while after that, and a while after that, and a while after that, and then every while for the foreseeable future. So believe me, I feel your brother's pain. Not in my legs, obviously. But I feel it. And what these people may not realize is that what they're doing is basically the same thing as going up to some other person they might meet and being like, hey, my sister fucked a black guy once. Not a great way to start a relationship or friendship or anything like that. So all you guys have now heard my take on how lucky I am. But sometimes it's true. I am pretty lucky. Like somehow, through mysterious good fortune, I managed to get all the benefits of being white, plus all the benefits of being a minority, and none of the downsides. It's the best of both worlds. Thank you, traditional parents. Thank you, risky behavior in my teens. Really, I get a forgiving legal system, an advantage in my college admissions, and no risk of being deported. And when you think about it, most comic book superheroes get their superpowers from tragedy. I guess I just ended up with a really weird ability. You can call me ultra-privileged white man. Getting away with way too much for way too long. Now the challenge is to see if I can use these powers for good. That's not a bet I would probably take though. Now, even though I can usually get away with a lot, I still don't like dealing with cops. Cops are scary because, like, for one thing, you never have to deal with them when things are going well. And whenever they're asking you questions, they tend to have a very narrow view of acceptable responses. It's like there's one right answer, and anything else is automatically suspicious, no matter how true or reasonable it is. Like if a cop asks you, how much have you had to drink today? And you say, 8 glasses of water, gotta stay hydrated. It doesn't look good. True or not, that's not the one right answer they're looking for. Could you imagine if a cop asked me to step out of the car? Like, I can't just refuse him, but I can't do what he wants me to do either. Like, the only thing they're expecting me to do is exactly what they asked me to do. Well, I don't have to imagine what would happen if a cop asked me to step out of the car. It's actually happened to me. On one occasion, a cop asked me to step out of the car 3 times. And let me preface this by saying I wasn't drunk. I had had 1 beer an hour ago by the time I got pulled over.
Sure.
The first time he asked me to step out of the car, I said as politely as I could, "I'm sorry, officer, I can't do that." Here I am apologizing for being a paraplegic. That wasn't the answer he was looking for, though. So the second time he asked me to step out of the car, I used a little more detail. I said, actually, officer, I'm paralyzed from the waist down, so I'm physically unable to step out of the car. Still not the right answer. The third time he asked me to step out of the car, I said, fuck you, Peg, I can't fucking walk! And I drove off. I didn't actually do that. I should have done that. That would have felt really good. But what's he expect me to do? The one thing I can't do is step out of the car. Like, I could fall out of the car. I could crawl out of the car. I could climb out of the sunroof. I just can't step, no matter how many times he asks me. And there's no other job in the world where you can ask the same person the same question 3 times, get an answer each time, keep asking that question, and not look like a fucking idiot. Like, what if that cop had worked at Starbucks? Like, I go up to the counter, and he's like, hi there, would you like to have a latte? I say, no thanks, I'll have an Americano instead. He's like, would you like to have a latte? Nope, I'm lactose intolerant, I can't have the milk. Would you like to have a latte? And at that point, I'd probably just say, sure, I'll have a latte. And then when he served it to me, I'd throw it in his face. Learn to listen, dumbass. Now, they say that youth is wasted on the young. I kind of feel like legs are wasted on the walking. Like, I see you guys out there. You're playing your Xbox. You're watching your Netflix. You're letting the girl ride you, cowgirl. Why? You could be running marathons, or climbing mountains, or doing a wheelbarrow. You know I wouldn't let that go to waste. There's some lazy fuckers. Alright, and I'll leave you with this. I'm sure you've all heard the song about the guy who would walk 500 miles to walk 500 more to be with a girl. And I think that's what ladies want these days. They want someone who's willing to put in a little bit of a chase for her. You know, not too much of a chase that's creepy, but enough of one so that she feels wanted. Which puts me at a bit of a disadvantage. I can't walk 5 steps, let alone 500 miles. I could order a Japanese robotic exoskeleton to use for legs. But first I'll need $500,000. So I've decided to start up a Kickstarter fund. Hopefully I'll be able to start kicking in soon. Let me know after the show if you'd like to contribute, because really, these legs were made for kicking. Hey-ya! Alright, that's all for me. Thanks, guys.